Shalom and greetings, everybody. Brother Nicholas James Vanderlane, Victory for the People of Israel from by the narrow path, which are the Ten Commandments. Today, it's March 18th, 2020. This is the 364th day of the year, so it is the 31st day of the 12th month. It's the day of the season. I just wanted to wing a quick video and share with you about the coming sword of Yahweh. This video is a follow-up video on this video that I did, the red horse rider in Jonah's 40-day warning. I published this video on February 10th, the 24th day of the 11th month. That's when I filmed it, that's when I published it, and on that day was the day that Zechariah received his vision of the rider of the red horse, and there was peace in the earth. And then it was time for Yahweh's indignation and his jealousy for Jerusalem and Zion. If you count 40 days from the 24th day of the 11th month, which was February 10th, here's 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 28 days, 35 days, 36 days, 37 days, 38 days, 39 days, and this is the 40th day. After 40 days, what was Jonah's warning? And sure enough, here we have the first day of the first month. And as you've seen in a lot of my recent videos in the last month, it's all been about focusing in on this first day of the first month. What do I expect to happen on this day? There's a lot that happens on this day, but I expect the rider of the red horse to ride, which is World War III, or the regional wars first, probably the Obadiah I war that will then escalate into World War III. This is all speculation, nothing for certain, but this is just what I see, and as I'm watching, this is just what I see. If you count on this day, also, it would appear that possibly the two witnesses would start their ministry. I believe they to be the prophet Daniel and the prophet John the Revelator. And there was a lot of similarities. Watch my playlist on the two witnesses. But if you count from here, then you can do a complete 1,260, and then coming to an end on the last day of the 31st day of the 6th month, and the following day would be the first day of the 7th month, Yom Teruah. So that's a 1,260-day period. That means the second period, or the remaining of time, even though time won't be reckoned after the 1,260 it appears, then it would start on the first day of the 7th month. So, with that being said, this is just something to consider. I wanted to talk about the sword of Yahweh. A lot of people don't know what the sword of Yahweh is, this coming sword. And in this judgment, it appears with this sword that Yahweh is going to take the righteous and the wicked together when the sword comes. So you could read about the sword coming in Ezekiel chapter 32. And this is regarding the sword that's going to come on Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And remember, Jerusalem was called spiritual Egypt and Sodom. So, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, this is what's going to happen. Yea, I will make many people amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for thee when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life in the day of thy fall. For thus saith Yahweh Elohim, the sword of the king of Babylon shall come upon thee. Speaking to Pharaoh. Now, who's Pharaoh? Pharaoh, United States. Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And we know in prophecy, Jerusalem is spiritual Egypt. So the king of Babylon is going to come, the sword of the king of Babylon is going to come upon them. And by the swords of the mighty will I cause the multitude to fall, the terrible of the nations, all of them. And they shall spoil the pomp of Egypt, whoever the pomp of Egypt might be. and all the multitudes thereof shall be destroyed. I will destroy the beasts thereof from beside the great waters, neither shall the foot of man trouble them any more, nor the hoofs of beasts trouble them. Then I will make their waters deep, and cause their rivers to run like oil, saith Yahweh Elohim. When shall I make the land of Egypt desolate, and the country shall be destitute of that whereof it was full? When I shall smite all them that dwell therein, then they shall know that I am Yahweh. This is the lamentation which they shall lament her. The daughters of the nations shall lament her. They shall lament for her, even for Egypt, and for all her multitude, saith Yahweh. And we can go ahead and read it about Egypt cast into the pit. As this prophecy then continues, this is all about the sword that's coming. It also identifies the countries, the nations that are all going to be involved with this war that is coming. They shall fall in the midst that are slain by the sword. She is delivered to the sword. Draw her and her multitudes. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell, that with them that help him. They are gone down, they lie uncircumcised, slain by the sword. So who is it that's slain by the sword? Egypt and all their multitude. Asher, Assyria, which is Assyria, and all their multitude. Elam and all their multitude, which is part of modern-day Iran. Meshech and Tubal, this is possibly Turkey and Russia. Edom, which is Jordan. The Zidonians, which is Lebanon. And then Pharaoh shall see him and be comforted over all his multitude, even Pharaoh and all his army slain by the sword, saith Yahweh Elohim. For I have caused my terror in the land of the living, which is modern state of Israel, which is illegitimate biblical Israel. They are not biblical Israel, okay? They are many of them. There might be Judahites there, and there might be a remnant there, which I believe to be so, but overall, they are not biblical Israel, and they know that. And all of his army shall be slain by the sword, saith Yahweh. So Pharaoh's army is going to be slain by the sword. For I have caused my terror in the land of the living, and he shall be laid in the midst of the uncircumcised. Speaking of Pharaoh, with them that are slain by the sword, even Pharaoh and all his multitude, saith Yahweh Elohim. So this is talking about a regional war of Zidonians, Lebanon, Edom, Jordan, Meshech and Tubal, Turkey, Russia, Elam, which is Persia. Well, you're saying Persia's all the way over east. Well, Persia, Elam, Iran, they currently have proxies in Lebanon and in Syria. So Elam is there. Ashur, which is Assyria, which is there. Same thing, there's also proxies that have come over from Iraq, which is Ashur also, and Egypt. So this is speaking of a regional war, and again, it starts as a regional war, and then it develops into world war. So that's it. It's nation against nation, and after nation against nation, which is a regional war, then comes kingdom against kingdom. So it might first start and play off inside of the modern state of Israel with the Obadiah 1 war. After that, it might then next escalate into the regional war with all of these countries right here that you mentioned in Ezekiel 32, and the sword of the rider of the red horse. And then after this regional war, then it will be world war, which is probably going to be, what is it, Zechariah 5 and the wicked fire offerings, the curse that goes over the whole face of the whole earth, and world war is probably going to be the last thing. So it's going to probably escalate. So, brothers and sisters, this is something to consider. I expect that it's possibly going to start on the first day of the first month, March 21st. This is something to consider. I expect an escape. I'm guessing that there could possibly be an escape, probably in either of these 2 days, more than likely sometime March 20th. The bridegroom comes at midnight. And so this is all something to consider. So if you haven't watched this previous video, The Rider of the Red Horse and Jonah's 40-day warning, I suggest that you do. And also, when kings go out for war, when? On the spring equinox is when they go out for war. It doesn't mean the war is going to start on the spring equinox, Could be the next day, and it could escalate, but this is when kings go out for war. Look at all the heavenly rapture signs here in the spring equinox. Hallelujah, we have his calendar. I believe the Son of Righteousness rapture is probably going to happen then. Spring equinox rapture video. Everything is leading up to this March 20th for me for right now in my watch that I'm doing. And again, we're transitioning in possibly into the beginning of sorrows with this COVID-19. And the beginning of sorrows will start with war. It starts with the sword, the rider of the red horse. And it's funny because when I made this video regarding the rider of the red horse, everything in the world was at peace. There was peace going on in the world. The COVID-19 outbreak was very small, almost 40 days ago. And now it's chaos in the world. The financial markets are falling. You know, no one's going to be buying and selling, marrying and giving and marrying, building. No one's going to be building anymore after this financial catastrophe that just happened, it looks like possibly. And that means that we are transitioning from the days of the Son of Man to the beginning of sorrows. And Yeshua said, when you see all these things begin to come to pass, look up. So what are things beginning to come past? Wars and rumors of wars, okay? And famines and pestilences. And we see a pestilence here with the COVID-19. We hear wars and rumors of wars. But he says, look up, for the end is not yet. So there's been wars. And war's been in Afghanistan. The U.S. has been having a war in Afghanistan with the Taliban for 20 years. It's not this huge war, but there's been wars. So we've had wars, and there's been many rumors of wars. And those rumors of wars is what we've all been seeing with Israel ever since the Iranian Revolution, basically. But it's heightened up through President Ahmadinejad back in the late 2000s, and 8, 2010, 2007. And here we are 10 years later, or 12 years later now from all of that, and there's a strong possibility that we are at the door, that Yeshua is at the door, and we're here possibly about to enter into this. So, brothers and sisters, please watch this video, Rider of the Red Horse, if you hadn't seen it. And again, pray always that you're counted worthy to escape and stand before the Son of Man. So there's going to be an escape. We're going to stand before the Son of Man, and we are pray always that we're worthy to count, accounted worthy. We are not worthy. We're only accounted worthy by our faith. And if you have true faith, you will keep his commandments. So, brothers and sisters, fear Yahweh Elohim and keep his commandments. Grace and peace to my brothers and sisters of Master Yeshua the Messiah that have his testimony and keep his commandments, who are doers of the word. Grace and peace always to you. I'm signing off here from the country of Cyprus.